Welcome to the World of Ability Podcast Network. You are here with Paige Spears and Choose Greater Health. Her show runs on Fridays at 2 p.m. Central, and we are so glad to have Paige here with her guest. So, Paige, over to you.
Thanks, Sue. And everyone, this is Dr. Pat Malone, and she is very skilled in the area of functional and lifestyle medicine. And I will let her take the introduction from here.
Okay. I am tuning in from the Finger Lakes in New York. My background is pretty extensive, and I have a very diverse background, starting out as a chiropractor and working from there into, studying functional medicine with Jeff Bland. PhD. He's coined as the godfather of functional medicine, and also delving into lifestyle medicine. I have background as an acupuncture physician and a master's in Oriental medicine and a lot of accolades. So what it just means is that I have such a huge passion for health and wellness and vitality, um, and how you can function better physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and socially. It just means that I can help people live their best life ever.
That's fascinating. And if I may ask, what sparked your interest in going into this field?
Uh, Things that have sparked my interest is, I've always been interested in health. I mean, even as a child, I played doctor. I didn't play the nurse. I didn't die, and nobody died under my care, literally and figuratively. And so you know, the spark was there a long time ago. And I just saw, at one point in time when I lived in Boston, after I sold my business, my health business, I just saw so many people that were sick. It was my first exposure of living in the city, and I was astounded, that for some people, they just like, they're just existing. And in fact, the majority of people just exist, and that's not okay with me. And so that drove me when I was there to actually write a book, in two bestsellers. One's the sequel to the original, which is Why Are You Sick, Fat, and Tired, which is a workbook, guidebook, and an advocating tool to how to accelerate your health and how to achieve your greatest goals in less time.
Sounds good. And how can what you do apply to the well-being of blood clot and brain injury survivors?
Well, you are what you eat. No, you're not. You are what you have the ability to absorb. And so the gut brain connection is such a huge connection that they used to, think that we were all hocus pocus people. Um, And they, when they did that, eventually it became known and scientifically proven that the gut-brain connection is really huge. So eating well, you know, is a key component in order to have really good brain health, and putting in the right foods and the right combination of foods. So if somebody has an injury, nutrition is crucial. It's not essential. It's not a maybe. It's crucial. And how you put those foods together is by far is it's important, and it's a daily adventure into how you can recreate the foundation and how you can build on that foundation, because nobody builds a house on a swampland,
Yeah, I've
right?
seen how that applies in my own life, definitely with, uh, well, it really kicked in with uh, 2 sessions a week of neurofeedback
Mm-hmm.
for about 8 months straight. In the first year after my blood clot caused oxygen deprivation brain injury,
Mm-hmm.
and that plus starting to see an integrative medical provider who did the ordered the lab test specifically for nutrition, and then I got custom supplements from there. And I credit both of those things with putting my clinical anxiety into permanent remission non-pharmaceutically.
Wow, that's wonderful. You're a
Yeah.
lucky one because you're smart, and you're able to seek, the care that you needed from a knowledgeable source. So that's great, because a lot of people think about doing that, but they don't take action in order to produce those results. Therefore, they waste a lot of time.
Yeah, and also a good thing, the initial inpatient SSRI detox, got a lot of it out of my system too, and that was helpful since my idea of it, the way I see it now, is that the SSRIs and combo hormonal birth control that I've been taking for the better part of 12 years up until then built up in my system and
Mm-hmm.
caused the blood clots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That there's like and it's also interesting that you know the source. So that you knew the source, you're able to um, evaluate, what your next step was and be able to create a plan, excuse me, um, so that it was workable and it accelerated your health so that you could, recover, as much as you possibly could recover. I mean, because
Yeah,
you
although
have you have residuals, right, from your injury.
Yeah, it was formally concluded to be an unprovoked pulmonary embolism, although my theory is that the long-term medication use likely was the provoking factor.
Hmm.
Although I've still been on Xarelto since then, and now working with a naturopath on how I can support my hormones and work around the Xarelto side effects.
Hmm. Yeah, great, great. You got the right person. I love homeopaths
Yeah, and I have
or
been
naturopaths.
also, I've had some more neuro movement sessions with a provider who is experienced mostly in uh, kids with developmental issues and those who have experienced stroke, but it's gotten my range of motion back to a much better place recently. And so I have that going for me. And I've also been working with a chiropractic clinic, therapeutic horseback riding, functional neurology,
Hmm.
all resources that I would recommend to anyone else living with brain injury
Hmm.
and things that fill in the gaps in standard medical approach.
Yep. Well, you've got to take it all in, and then you can choose. And because knowledge is powerful, but it's only powerful when you know how to put it or stack it in a specific way so that you can extract the knowledge that you need for you and what works best for you, and then know your next best steps to take.
Yeah, I had a few hyperbaric oxygen therapy sessions and my ears disagreed with those.
Hmm.
And
Yep.
I've been
Sometimes.
taking a supplement called Neuro O2 and that helps with to balance the oxygen levels in my blood.
Hmm. Okay. That's
Yeah.
good.
So,
That's good.
what can a brain injury survivor or someone who's experienced blood clots specifically expect out of their initial evaluation with you if they choose to become a client?
Well, one of the things is you got to go back to basics and you have to know exactly what you're working with and what you're not working with. So when someone works with me, in my book, Why Are You Sick, Fat, and Tired, is a questionnaire that has over 300 questions in it. And it's very targeted per organ system. And it delves and dives very deep in each organ system. So it asks specific questions so you know what you got going for you and where your strengths are. Also knows where your weak links are. So if you know that, then you can strategically, make a plan to correct the weak links so that you have more balance and harmony in your body and how it's functioning. Because when you have that possibility, then other things have, other side effects or other problems that you have going on, in your health can be resolved because sometimes what you got isn't necessarily what you got. It's what your symptoms are, but it doesn't necessarily, there's other things that are going on. So to support that, you've got to know what the right side, so to speak, your right hand's doing, what your left hand's doing, and then the connection of that meets in the center, so to speak, in a very metaphorical way. Um, so uh, what someone can expect is they can expect a thorough evaluation. They can expect thorough, um, conversation and about what their goals are too, because everyone's goals are different. My goals are different than your goals, right? But somebody who has more brain issues or from a brain incident, then it's just like you got to go. It's like, what kind of foods are you eating? What foods support the tonification, which means that you're strengthening the walls of the arteries and the veins? You know, is there a supplement that helps support that? So and you have to take in the person's previous history, what's going on with them. And like I said before, you have to know exactly what the goals are. Then you can craft a very personalized and individualized plan and how to move forward. Usually I start off when working with those kind of things, I like on at a 3-month time span. Because you can't, a lot of times people, it's been years that, and how those, like what's going on with you now has taken years to manifest. So even as a Chinese medicine physician also, is that the line of questioning is more into being able to sustain what you got going for you and also help, have the ability to perhaps correct some of the things that aren't going well with you. But you have to have this, there's a lot of questions to be asked, in order to be able to formulate. I also look at, blood work and I look for trends, which a lot of Western medicine doctors don't do. For instance, they look at a lot of like, if you're a normal, then you're a normal. But I look at where's that normal at? Where has it been at? And is it a high normal or a low normal? Because those have value. Those you have to look at how your blood work is trending.
Yeah, nutritional psychiatry would have gone a long way for me in 2004 for sure, if that had been available.
Hmm.
And I've recently had updates to blood work for well, blood count probably a bit more than iron, although iron levels are a big thing for me to be tracking now.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
what benefits have you seen in the clients you have?
Say that question again. I want to make sure I understood it.
What benefits have you seen from your work in your current clients?
Well, I have a woman that I'm physically treating where I'm at right now who had, she had an incident, a brain incident, and she could barely walk. She was like dangling, like that. She was very unstable walking. And right now we're just doing structural correction for her, and as a chiropractor. And in 1 week, her ability to walk is very different. She has higher cognition, and that's just with the chiropractic adjustment. I also told her to stop eating sugar. And so and that sugar part of it is, sugar creates a lot of inflammation in the body. So you got to look at where, how you're sourcing your, very macro and micro dense nutrients and where those are coming from in order to make decisions going forward. So, but with her specifically, the sugar has decreased and her ability to move around is by far more stable. It's astounding in 1 week. I was really shocked after I saw her after the first week I worked with her in over a weekend. Um, there's other people who, that I worked with, it's like just changing, their supplementation and changing what foods that they choose to eat and have that education about how to read labels. I mean, it's something that, I take for granted because I've been reading labels on food forever, but a lot of people haven't. So when they look at it, it's very confusing. And also understanding what ingredients are in foods that are additives that are not healthy for you, like sodium benzoate. Sodium
It's
benzoate
at least good to know
is a
that
man
much.
well, it's a man-made product, and if you mix it with vitamin C, it turns into a benzene, and a benzene is gasoline. So, whether like and how and things also about what you put on your body and on your skin, because 65% of what you put on your skin gets absorbed into your body. And the whole big problem is that, we have such a sick society, a sick model of medicine. They estimate by the year 2030 that 50% of the population, in the United States is going to have a chronic illness or disease. I don't want to be part of that statistic. So one thing that you look at, what can somebody do as a DIY, and you can choose to make better choices in your lifestyle so that of what you're eating, because you have to be able to fuel the body with appropriate nutrients if you want to think better, if you want to feel better, and you want to move better.
That was a really good comprehensive look at everything.
Hmm.
And where can people find you if they'd like to connect and learn more?
Well, one of the places that they can find me is on my website. It's healthteamnetwork.com. There's a lot of different information on that website, and also it is there's a lot of links so that, you can have conversation with me and the such. Another place is on Facebook, and my Facebook business page is, the usual facebook.com/, and it's Ask Dr. Pat. And then finally, my like LinkedIn profile and Instagram profile have the same, suffix on it. And so it's like Instagram.com or LinkedIn.com, and LinkedIn has a special IN and the /. Um, and that is, as my name appears on the screen right now, Dr. Pat Ballone, all one word. So that's a good place to start, and also there's a detailed explanation about what I do in LinkedIn on my that profile.
Sounds great. And um, it was great to have you on the show today.
Thanks. Paige, I'm very happy to support you, and I've known you for about a year now, right?
Yeah.
Something like that. So it's been exciting to follow you, and I'm really thrilled that you have this podcast to help people. And
And
because
what's one last tip you would share with everyone that they can implement right away?
hydrate, 50% of your body weight in water
Mm-hmm.
in ounces.
Okay, great to hear from you.
Great. When you get to a point, we're done. We're not recording, right?
This has been of Choose Greater Health with Paige Spears, part of the World of Ability Podcast Network. We look forward to hearing back next week what episode is to come. So thank you